Hello and welcome to another Canguro English Daily Digest. My name is Christian and today is Tuesday, best day of the week. I'm going to start today by telling a joke. So, in New York City, the mafia is protecting some local businesses, right? So if these local businesses want protection from the mafia, they have to pay every week. And of course the mafia needs somebody to go and collect the money every week. And it's it's an important job, but also a job that requires a lot of trust, right? Because it's a lot of money. And so the mafia has this great idea. They're going to send this deaf person to go and collect the money. Deaf, can't hear, right? And because that way, when they go to collect the money, they can't hear any of the conversations. They're not going to speak. It's going to be perfect. They're going to be like a silent witness. Okay, so it's the very first week. They send out the deaf guy. He collects $100,000 and then he disappears. And the mafia's like, what happened? Then they send a team of mafia guys to go out and they find him. And they take him back to this abandoned warehouse. Now obviously they can't speak to him, right? They can't ask him where the money is, so they get an interpreter, a sign language interpreter to come in. And the sign language interpreter, the mafia says, okay, ask him where the money is. And so he's like, where's the money? And the guy replies, tell them I don't know what they're talking about. And so the sign language interpreter says, he says he doesn't know what you're talking about. So just then the mafia boss, he pulls out this gigantic gun and points it at the deaf guy's head and says, this is your final opportunity. Tell us where the money is. And so the interpreter's like, this is your final opportunity. Tell them where the money is. And the guy's got the gun to his head. Okay. The money is in a children's playground in Central Park underneath the swings on the left. Just dig there and you'll find the money. And the mafia guy, he asks the interpreter, what did he say? And the interpreter says, he says that he still doesn't know what you're talking about and you don't have the guts to pull the trigger. That's a good one. And the reason I told that joke is because today's word of the day is about things that you can't say. Things that are ineffable. Things that are ineffable are things that cannot be explained with words. Like maybe you could talk about the ineffable experience of being alive. It's impossible to describe without words. Or, an ineffable sunset over the coast. And also, you can use ineffable for things that are taboo, things that shouldn't be said. Really, really bad things like the meal, that pizza that we had was ineffably bad. So you can see it's also can be used as an adverb, ineffably bad. And now this actually comes from Latin. And believe it or not, it's related to babies. Okay, so in Latin, the word to speak, the verb to speak was fari. And you can see it here in the word, fari. So, ineffari, basically. Ineffari means so you unable to say. It literally says in Latin, unable to say, unable to speak. And that is exactly where we get the word infant. Baby, an infant. An infant means infare, you cannot speak. So maybe that will help you to remember the word. Now, speaking of, I'm trying to tell the story here. So, speaking of things that we shouldn't, things that can't be spoken, or about speaking, I'm trying to make a link. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but yesterday Justin Bieber, like the Justin Bieber, he challenged Tom Cruise to fight. It's so ridiculous, okay? Now, he challenged him to fight on Twitter, and I want to show you the tweet. Okay, so here's the tweet. This is the real tweet from his account. So let me zoom in here, and I want you to read it, okay? And I want you to tell me if you see any problems. Ready? I want to challenge Tom Cruise to fight in the octagon. Tom, if you don't... What does it say? Tom, if you don't take this fight, you're scared, and you will never live it down. Who is willing to put on the fight? Now, do you see the problem here with this tweet? The grammar problem. That's right. He says, if you don't do this, you're scared. You're. Let me just do my focus here. You're possessive. I don't know if that's in focus. No, it's not. Let me try again. He said, you're possessive. You're scared, not you are scared. Now here's a person with millions of Twitter followers, Canadian native speaker, millions of Twitter followers, went to school, went to education system, doesn't know the difference between your and your. Alright? So don't feel bad about your grammar and vocabulary mistakes. And this is another reminder that when we try to compare ourselves to native speakers, it's just a bad idea. And I was actually reading this really interesting paper this morning, okay? It is a very, very big paper. It's like 300 pages or something like that. 314 pages. It's called Teachers' Beliefs and Strategies When Teaching Reading in Multilingual Settings. So it's basically about schools where the students speak more than one language. Like, for example, in Canada, you have students who are bilingual, bilingual at birth, so they have French and English. And also, I can't remember what other countries are in the study, but so German, Sweden, and Chile. Okay, now, what's really interesting about this paper is they talk about teaching strategies with multiple languages. Now, what they discovered is that most teachers in the classroom, when they're teaching multiple languages, they put them in individual boxes, right? So it's like, now's English time, now is German time, now Swedish time. When they're doing reading, it's like, they're speaking in English, the book's in English, the children are speaking in English. And there's this idea among teachers, this idea that languages exist in boxes. But they don't. They don't exist in boxes anywhere, not in the brain, not in the real world. And a successful approach to teaching, languages in general is to actually embrace this overlap, to embrace the idea that all languages exist together. And in fact, there was a great paper, I don't have it here, but it was called something like I start a sentence in Spanish y lo termino en español. So it basically means that you start a sentence in English and you finish it in Spanish. And it showed that people who switch between languages in the middle of a sentence, that's actually a sign of fluency. Because, like for example, when I'm playing with my son, I can say, wow, look at all those coches rojos. So I'm starting it in English, I'm finishing the sentence in Spanish. I'm violating those English rules by putting the adjective at the end, but it's kind of like, it makes sense. I'm accepting that I'm accepting that the languages exist together. And good teaching is about that. And you should embrace that too. Don't put your languages in a box. They're all tools for you to use, to play with and have fun. Okay, that's it for today's Daily Digest. I'm going to talk more about this in the future. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm Christian. I'll see you in class.